Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Doing good, doing good.
Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, thanks for taking some time to talk to Metal Wani today. And how's it been going lately?
It's been busy.
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
It's been busy, but it's all good. Just doing all of the, you know, PR and pre-release this and that, and there's so much that's behind the scenes that, people don't really see, fans and whatnot that goes into getting an album out.
No. Oh, hell yeah. Definitely could imagine that. Since the 2008 release of the Manifesto for Domination, Halcyon Way has been gaining steam like a locomotive. What's that journey been like so far?
Well, honestly, man, it's just been kind of a story of perseverance. I mean, we have looked at ourselves for years as the underdog, and we've had to claw and scratch for everything we've been able to do and accomplish, and we just don't take no for an answer. So we just keep pressing forward no matter what.
So the new album, Conquer, is set to be released by Nightmare Records in North America, same as your previous records. But you guys have signed a multi-record contract with Massacre Records for European releases as well as the rest of the world. How did that deal come about, and does it at all affect your relationship with Nightmare Records?
Well, basically, here's how it works, or how it came about. Our management, Instrumental, really every release because we're on an album by album deal with Nightmare, and things have gone well with Nightmare. We have no complaints, and life was great. But every release, Instrumental just is kind of regular business. Just like in the regular course of business, they shop the album around, whatever our new stuff is, just to see what happens. Because you never know if somebody bigger is gonna hear something that they want or that they're looking for, and just snap it up. You just don't know. And
yeah, you gotta keep your options open. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And because hey, if they're gonna throw the checkbook at us, then we'd be remiss to not look at it, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
So basically that's kind of what Instrumental do for us every release. And so when we got Conquer mastered and everything, and we were ready to figure out where we were going to put it out, we already knew that Lance wanted to do it, so that was no problem. And basically, they shopped it around, and we had several offers, and actually, like, less than 48 hours. It was really cool. And, of course, when Massacre came knocking, we were like, oh, man, this is awesome. They're such a, legendary label. They've been around for so long. And really a need for us was to get a bigger machine to push us in Europe because, Nightmare is a U.S. label. And the reach of Nightmare, I mean, he's everywhere. They're doing stuff everywhere, but they're really strong in North America. So we were like, Massacre for us, rest of the world is going to be a perfect fit, and then keeping Nightmare in North America is going to be great. So that's kind of how we were able to kind of carve it up, and it was a good thing. So
very cool, very cool. So Conquer is somewhat of a hybrid of modern power metal, a bit of modern death metal, and a healthy helping of prog metal. The songs have high-pitched vocals and uplifting choruses, but at the same time they have the double bass passages, the thundering riffs, and the harsh vocals that would make the fans of the more extreme metals grin ear to ear. Was all that intentional, or did it just come naturally?
It's really both. I mean, we write that way very naturally because we have a whole lot of different influences in the band, and so and we don't really rule out anything in particular that we never go, oh, well, we can't use that part because it sounds like this, or it doesn't sound like that, or whatever. We basically play what we think feels natural. And when we wrote the album, we basically looked at the demos because start a lot of the songs. Really, I think on this album, I kind of started all the song ideas in my studio with just like drum machines and basic riffs and things like that. Occasionally, I'd have a vocal idea, and I'd throw down a really out-of-key vocal line that Steve would laugh at. And, as we kind of built on the material and fleshed it out between the three of us and all, because actually at the time we wrote the album and recorded it, it was really just me, Steve, and Ernie in the band. We had a fill-in bass player and had some lineup changes during all this process, so Max and Skylar actually did not contribute to the writing or recording the album, but they joined the band after it was all done. And but basically the three of us, we sat down and we said, all right, well, this is the material we're working on. What are we really good at as a band? And we decided that we were good at writing catchy hooks, big choruses, lots of vocal harmonies, kind of along the lines of King's X or Galactic Cowboys or Old Alice in Chains or whatever. We felt like we did the death metal thing in appropriate places where it made sense and took the songs to a different place and gave them kind of another element and another catchy hook, hopefully. So we felt we were good at that. And, we knew that kind of the way that that I write riffs and Ernie drums, we knew that stuff was going to come out like it came out because that's what we do, but so basically we just said, let's focus in on what we feel like we're really good at, and let's just like really dial it in on that stuff. And that's kind of what we did on this material. When it comes to guitar parts, I want to write stuff that's challenging to play and interesting for me as a player, but I don't want it to be so technical that the average listener can't get it. But I want them to be able to tell, there's a little more nuance to this riff or this part or whatever than, say your average, well, I'm not going to call anybody out, but your average power metal riff, So we wanted there to be a little bit of, technicality, but we wanted it to be subtle. And that's kind of the thing for us, I think. And so, yeah, man, it was just all really natural. We were just like, this is what we do, and let's just do more of it.
That's great. I mean, it's a great balance. It really is.
I appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. So, I'm not sure who the producer that you guys used was, but, I got to salute the guy, or if you want to call him an animal, because he really brought the best performance out of you guys. What was it like? Well, who was it first off, and what was it like working with him?
Well, Lasse Lammert is our producer, and he has mixed and/or co-produced all of our stuff. And I guess technically, as far as the producer goes, it was kind of me because I recorded most of it in my home studio. But Lasse was co-producer. I bounced a lot of stuff off of him, and he also mixed and mastered the record. We also tracked the drums in Germany at his studio. Lasse is from Lübeck, which is right outside of Hamburg. And so we actually flew there and tracked the drums there and then brought the sessions back and did the rest of it in my studio. But and we also had some work on the vocals by Seth Von Paulus. He's over in L.A., and he's like kind of a go-to guy for vocals, and he works with tons of pop acts, really. He's on platinum albums of people like Lady Gaga or something. So we convinced him to slum with us. But Lasse, our producer, is known for he's probably best known for Ailstorm, because that's the band that he's done every Ailstorm album review.
Very cool.
And he's also done Glory Hammer and a bunch of other bands. But yeah, Lasse is a good buddy. And basically, man, he's got a great ears. He's a great mix engineer. He's really a very, very good producer, and he's certainly on the he's definitely one of those rising talents. I think give him a couple of years and he's going to be at an Andy Sneap kind of level, and because he's just well respected in that community. But yeah, working with him is always good fun. Actually, we just released the making of Part 1, and it just got pushed out today, actually.
Oh, very cool. So the guitar work from yourself and Max Eve on Conquer is really terrific. You get the bone crunching riffage and the uplifting refrains, choruses, and it seems that you guys took a real like less is more approach on the solos. Was this as an effort to not overpower the songs with the over the top guitar wankery?
Yeah, definitely. I really hate listening to albums where they just sit there and shred as fast as they can and just basically jerk off. I hate that kind of stuff. I can't listen to it. It just drives me nuts. And as a player, you know, when I do a solo, I want it to take you from. I want it to kind of tell a story. You know, I want it to, you know, maybe start out with a melodic bit and then build up into like something fast, and then go back into a melodic thing or something. I want it to kind of ebb and flow. I don't want it to just be like wheedly, you know. Well, actually, we joke because we've seen bands on tour that, you know, have maybe been local support or whatever, and we call one of them like the Burning Turkey, because the guitar player hit probably every single note imaginable, possible, on every song. It'd be the chorus, and you just hear the guitar going, woo, and you're like, that's the hook. Why is the guitar player doing 30-second notes over it? Are you serious? So I look at solos like I want to be able to remember them and sing along to them in the car and kind of know where they go. The solos that I've always loved, that I've been like, oh man, it's such a great lead. You know, it's never like Wheatley. It has something to say. That's what I always try to do as a guitar player, and I'm way more inclined to write solos that do that than, you know, just speedy. Sometimes you need speed, and that's what it calls for, and you do it, and it works. Sometimes, yeah, definitely less is more. Awesome. Up with a good melody, and you make it catchy, and, you know.
Yep, and you know what? You guys definitely make it work for you. But let's talk about influences. A lot of the classic thrash, empowering, progressive metal influences stand out beautifully in the music of Halcyon Way. But are there any more modern or newer metal bands out there that you guys really kind of draw influence from in your writing?
Man, the influences are all over the place with us. You know, personally, you know, I kind of came up as a guitarist learning how to play on old school thrash, like old Metallica, Testament, you know, Sabotage aren't really thrash, but they're, you know, kind of an old school band. I came up learning how to play that stuff. I kind of, from there, got into heavier stuff, and my first band was a death metal band, and we did a few things, and so I have that influence. I got into bands like Gorguts and, you know, whatever back in the day. Then I got into prog metal, got into Fate's Warning, and really became a huge Queensryche fan, and got into stuff like that for a minute. So that sort of got tired to me, so then I got into more of the modern metal stuff like Chimera or Toth or Devil Driver or Ultimate Remains or Kill Switch or bands like that. I've got all sorts of stuff, runs the gamut. Ernie, our drummer, he's got a black metal project, a black metal side project. So he's got another band where he's doing blast beats and 200 beats a minute all the time. You know, Steve came up through like all the old late 80s type of hard rock, you know, hair metal, TNT, Stryper, Skid Row, Motley Crue, all that stuff. So we have all of these diverse influences, and you know, it all ends up in the material because playing that stuff is very natural to us all.
Very nice, very nice. The artwork for Conquer is, well, it's amazing, and it's done by, you know, the legendary Travis Smith, he's got to be one of my favorite artists for album artwork. You know, can you give us some insight as to the journey from conception to fruition on the artwork and what it was like working with Mr. Smith?
Well, Travis is awesome. I mean, we, to give you a little bit of back history on the band, you know, in 2008 when we put out Manifesto, our vocalist at that time, Sean, he's a graphic designer, and that's what he does for a living. So he did a great job on the artwork for Manifesto. And then when he left the band, we were like, well, we have to make sure that our visuals are awesome because we can't take a step backwards. So who are we going to get? And I just said to the guys, I'm like, let's contact Travis Smith. He's the shit. Let's see if we can get him to work on our stuff. And so I emailed him, and we got a dialogue going. He's like, look, man, I can't even get to your album for 6 months. Are you okay with that? Because he's like, I don't want you to sit around waiting on me because I'm so booked. I was like, yep, we want you to do our stuff. We'll wait. So he did Building the Towers, and he did Indoctrination for us as well. So this course is the third time we worked with him, and he knows what we're looking for and kind of how we like to do it. And, you know, it was basically we told him our concept, and he was like, oh, like this? And we're like, yeah, exactly like that. So that's been cool. I mean, and, you know, he knows he's just inside our head, so very cool to work with him. And he's done such legendary stuff, you know, all the Opeth albums and last 3 or 4 Overkill albums and, you know, Catatonia, and just he's done so many cool things that...
Oh, yeah, all his stuff is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, he's just super talented. So for us, it's really cool because we know our art and our visuals are going to be as good as you can get because he's the best.
Absolutely. So now I understand that you are a Christian. I was wondering, do you find that your spiritual beliefs play a factor when making band decisions such as lyrical content or what bands you guys tour with?
You know, as far as touring stuff, no, not really. As far as just band decisions and that kind of thing, you know, there's certain things that I don't want us to, you know, have in our lyrics or whatever that I'm uncomfortable with. And, you know, if something like that were to come up, you know, I'd just say, guys, I'm not really comfortable with this. Let's reword it or something like that. And I think everybody would be fine. It's really just not been something that has come up very often. I can't even really remember the last time something like that happened. So it's really it's really like a non-issue, I suppose.
Well, that's good.
We're not really a band that, you know, we're not going to put out an album called "This Is Brutal Goat Sacrifice" or something like that.
Maybe you should, just to throw people for a loop.
Yeah, I know, right? Although there is one time we did dress up on Halloween. We did a Halloween show, and we went out as a band called Disenfranchised, and we had like the typical death metal logo with the sticks or whatever, and we all dressed up in corpse paint. It was pretty funny. I looked exactly like a Both. It was amazingly funny.
That is awesome.
So yeah, it's not really anything that comes up, I guess, to answer your question.
Very cool, very cool. So in 2012 and 2013 were big years for Halcyon Way with some heavy-duty tours. What cities did you guys enjoy playing the most, and which cities would you like to hit that you didn't get to in those time periods with the upcoming touring for Conquer?
Man, as far as cities that were awesome, New York City, playing there was amazing. That was really cool for us to be able to do. You know, we played the House of Blues on the Sunset Strip in LA. That was amazing. We got to play in Dallas, which I had always wanted to do because I've got a ton of family there, and none of those guys had ever been able to see me play. So that was really cool. You know, man, I mean, we hit so many cool cities that it's really hard to pick out favorites, but those were definitely some high points. Played an amazing show in Milwaukee. You know, Vancouver was a lot of fun. Played Toronto a couple times. I mean, one of the best shows we played last year was in St. Ferdinand. I think it's in Quebec, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And way northeast Canada in this little bitty village. And it was one of the most insane things we've ever witnessed. It was the show was actually in a metal factory.
So, perfect venue.
I know, it was so metal. It was like that Patton Oswalt video, or that Patton Oswalt bit where he talks about the damn Yankees video where they're in a factory that makes sparks. It was kind of like that. It was so funny. It was amazing. In 12, when we toured Europe with Delane, Budapest was an amazing city to visit. We played some sold-out shows in the UK. That was awesome. Paris was amazing. Man, just so many cool places that we've been able to go to and play. It's pretty surreal, actually. As far as places we'd like to play, we didn't get to go to Scandinavia or Sweden or those sorts of places last time we were in Europe. So we would like to go do that, and it seems that we are going to.
Very cool.
I think it would be cool personally to definitely play Japan, but that's just a very difficult place to kind of make it to, from what I'm told, because we haven't had any opportunities to go there. But that would be a lot of fun. Would love to go to South America and do some stuff if we had the opportunity. But man, we're just happy to be able to get out there and do our thing. We kind of have to. We don't take anything at all for granted, and we kind of have to pinch ourselves and go, "Wow, man, we've taken this band into a dozen countries to play. This is insane." And the number just appears to be growing.
Awesome. So in 2010, you were diagnosed with stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Having survived that, are there any after effects to the disease or the treatment that have affected you your life as a musician?
Well, when I was in treatment for it to begin with, I mean, we pretty much, I got diagnosed a week before Building the Towers came out in October of 10. And, we had to cancel a tour that we had booked with Stuck Mojo for Europe. So that was a big blow, because that was kind of like our first big break, actually. And, when I was in treatment, we pretty much had about almost a year where we were on ice. We did 2 spot dates while I was actually in treatment, which was an experience. I mean, you're feeling like you're about to barf and you're on stage.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
Yeah, it was interesting. But, muscle through. And, so once I got the all clear from that, I was in treatment while we were getting Indoctrination ready to come out. So that came out really pretty much right after I got the all clear. And we just kind of hit the road. I do have some lingering side effects from the treatment, because I do some heavy-duty stuff, and it takes 3 to 5 years to kind of get back to normal after that. Mm-hmm. And, the treatment that I went through, it creates, like, memory issues and fatigue and stuff like that. And I'm through the worst of it now, but I can still tell at times, oh, yeah, I can't remember anything today, and that's really why.
Mm. Yeah, consider that being a problem.
But, it's like anything, and you just sort of muscle through it, man.
Absolutely.
You just keep going.
Soldier on. So, speaking of cancer, though, Halcyon Way has done benefit shows for the cause a couple of times, and I was wondering if there are any future plans for another one.
There definitely are. We've done 2 of them. We did one in 11 and one in 12. We couldn't do one in 13 because we were out on the road so much. And we had one booked for November of this year, but we're actually about to announce the tour. We've been waiting on the okay from the booking agent to make it public. But I'm sure this will get published after the fact. But we are going out on the road in Europe at the end of October for a month with Saxon and Skid Row. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we're very, very stoked about it. But we have this benefit show actually set up for November 8th or 7th, one of the two. And we had to push it back until first quarter of next year. So we're probably going to do it around February next year. But yes, we do plan to continue doing that. And our objective is to have it be an annual thing. And, just have it be something that, we just count on doing every year.
Very cool, very cool. Awesome cause, too.
Yeah, I mean, when I was going through all that, I was lucky because I had really, really good health insurance and that kind of thing. So for example, there's an anti-nausea medicine that was like $500 a dose, and my insurance paid for it, and it worked, and I really didn't have any problems along those lines, because I was on that good of a med. But there was a guy sitting next to me in the treatment room, and his insurance wouldn't cover it. And so he was taking something that was effective. It wasn't like he was doing without, but he was not getting the cutting-edge thing because his insurance wouldn't pay that much money for it. So basically what, I was like, we need to try to give something back, and the practice that I got treated at most of the time has a foundation, and the Atlanta Cancer Care Foundation, and that's what we donate the money to, because what they do is they help people that are in treatment pay the bills. So it's a very rubber hits the road kind of grassroots thing. It's something that will immediately impact somebody's life, as opposed to, okay, we're donating it to research and it goes kind of into limbo, you know what I mean?
Yep.
We liked it because it was something that, you could actually, not that they really show it to us because that wouldn't be appropriate, but you know that it's going directly to somebody.
It's making a difference to people individually.
Right.
Exactly. Very cool. Very, very awesome thing to do. So, sorry.
Oh, well, I just look at it, I'm like, well, I'm not dead. So, it's kind of almost like an obligation. I feel like it's an obligation. And the guys, fortunately are in agreement with me,
Very cool. Very cool. So, with all the early lineup changes and your health issues, are you guys happy with where Halcyon Way is as a band right now, or are you guys still trying to push it to be someplace else that, is an ultimate goal for you guys?
Well, like I said, I mean, we always feel like we're the underdog. We always feel like there's something to prove. And I don't think that's ever really going to go away, because I think that's just kind of wired into our personalities, And so, I mean, this is our fourth album. We're still hungry. We feel like we have more to do. And so, yeah, I mean, we're like, okay, cool, album's coming out, got stuff going on, touring and all that, but we're just going to keep grinding. Because we've come a long way, and we've done more than 99.9% of musicians ever get to do, which is just huge. But, we've got more to say and more to do.
Awesome. So I got to say, Jon, your story, it's really inspirational to a lot of people, in that you overcame a very, very scary ailment and continued to make great music. Wonder, do you have any words of encouragement to any of our fellow metalheads who may be going through a similar situation?
The only thing that I could really say is just fight. Don't give up. Don't let yourself get depressed or anything like that. You just go, okay, here's the thing. I've got to deal with it. I've got to do what I've got to do to survive, and you just fight. And that's really the only thing that I could say. I mean, it's easy to give up, much harder to fight, and you got to. And I didn't want this new album to be about being sick and all. But certainly, as I was writing what I wrote, I mean, that was very much on my mind, and I kind of basically when I was going through all this, there were things that there were albums or songs that I would lean on that would give me a little bit of a boost or a pickup if I needed it. And, I wanted this album to do the same thing for other people. That was my personal goal. And so hopefully that comes across. I mean, there's a million bands out there that are being negative and just they're being negative and they're talking about, whatever. I didn't really want that to be us. I wanted to kind of pay it forward a little bit, and just give somebody something that they could maybe latch on to if they were going through a hard time. And, as I wrote this stuff, I didn't want the album to be about cancer or anything like that. Nobody would want to listen to it, including me. I wanted it to be something that was universal, whether somebody were going through what I did, or they were going through a breakup, or they were going through, death of a family member, or just whatever, whatever tribulations they may go through. I wanted it to be something that, maybe they could lean on a little bit.
Something to inspire perseverance.
Right.
Awesome. So, I want to conclude the interview by asking you to define the album Conquer in just one sentence.
That's a tough one.
Oh, we hit people with this one all the time.
It's going to have a lot of commas.
Is this going to be a run-on sentence?
Probably. It's Conquer as an album is very heavy. It's very catchy, and it is something that I think will be memorable, and it will appeal to probably anybody that likes heavy metal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jon, for taking the time to speak to us today. Much luck to you and your bandmates in the future.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, and appreciate you having us on, having us do the interview.
Awesome. All right, man. You have a great day.
You too, man. Take it easy.